Look who's back. Yes, it's me. I'm back. Hi, everybody. We are in week 4, so welcome. A huge thank you to everyone who's been involved in this course. I think you have truly given your heart and souls to project management, learning about it, applying it, deciding how you're going to develop it back in your workplace. Takeaways every single week have truly been remarkable. So kudos to every single one of you. I feel that every single one of us is a better employee and definitely a better coworker. So congratulations to everybody. 4 weeks is a really quick time to learn such great skills. And like I said, just really have had an exciting time in this class. So thanks everybody. To kind of recap, let's look at week 1. So in week 1, we kind of defined project management. We also talked about project versus operations. And I know that's something I kind of still struggle with too. And what I found is a lot of projects in my workplace as an instructional designer, I think as an instructional designer, we try to make it systematic enough so that as we're doing it, that we become better, and slowly I think it almost does become an operation. So that's what I've kind of seen, is even if something starts as a project and it slowly becomes operational, sometimes it does go back to a project mode. If it's a course that needs revisions, if there's a new initiative, a grant to make things better. So there are different reasons that an operation could change back to a project or vice versa. So that was a great takeaway from that. We also talked a little bit about some of those process groups, initiating, planning, executing, kind of monitoring and controlling, and then finally closing and celebrating when our projects come to a conclusion. And then that transferred us right into week 2. Week 2, we went into our knowledge areas, and I think one of my takeaways from that was that I actually had terms that I could put to what I was already doing. And that helped me, again, I think looking at all the areas, it helped me make sure that I covered what I needed to, but then again, it gave me that terminology so that I could talk to other group members about my expectations and just how things were going. So great week 2 takeaways. One of the areas that I kind of want to touch on that I feel, at least as an instructional designer in my role here at UCF, is one of the parts that I don't work on too much as far as in the planning stage is kind of the financial or money resource aspects of a project. As an ID in higher education, much of that is kind of done before it gets to me. So I kind of tend to merge this with a simple discussion sometimes in a project, like, is our time money, or what's our expected turnaround, or how many people do we have that we can commit to this project? So again, not necessarily financial, but again, some of those resource type discussions still come from it. And I just wanted to touch on that because that's one thing that I don't feel that I've had the chance to really apply back in my workplace, and I'd be interested to hear if any of you have that role. But anyway, let's go on to week 3. Week 3, we talked about predictive versus agile. We talked about, kind of predictive being that waterfall where it kind of goes as expected and everything's designed and kind of timelined. And then we talked about the agile approach and how that's more of kind of a project manager facilitator. And I think all of us said that we really tend to start, if anything, more with that predictive. We try to make sure we have it all covered, but then as we know, projects change. So just kind of incorporating that agile approach into our projects really helps in the long run. When I think of this class, I think of it more as the course structure itself. And again, this is kind of a parallel. The course structure itself is really waterfall predictive. It's outlined, it is the way it is. But then me as the facilitator, you never know what you're going to get. You never know how many learners you're going to have. You never know what types of learners. You never know their skill sets. So when that comes into play, you kind of have to be a little bit more flexible. So again, those are kind of my parallels when I look at these weeks and kind of recap, which brings us to final week 4. In week 4, we did a lot of summarizing on what we'd learned. We also added a little bit on strategic values, and that's important being at a higher ed institution. A lot of times we align what we're doing with our institution's missions, goals, priorities, or even tactics that we're covering in our own home schools. Additionally, we talked a little bit about technical skills and leadership skills. Lots of great resources out there for both of those. So if you feel that you're not necessarily competent in those areas, please take a look at those resources. Finally, we have 2 activities for week 4. 4.1 would be a discussion reflection, so please get in there and again post for 4.1. 4.2 is kind of the capstone course portfolio, and that's going to be done using a third-party tool called Padlet. Padlet is great for visual learners. It's a great visual tool. Note it does have some usability, limited usability, so do your best. Look at what others have posted. Send me an email if you think it's necessary, either to review what you did or some things that maybe didn't come out the way you wanted them to, just so as I'm assessing it, I kind of have the whole picture. Finally, if you could please complete the course survey. Feedback on the course, the activities, the facilitators, all of that is truly appreciated. I think, as instructional designers, we can never get enough of that. So if you could please complete all 3 of those. The due date is this Sunday, February 24th. I know we've been a little flexible in the past. However, with the course conclusion, we are going to keep to the 24th. So if you feel that you're not going to make that, please contact me as soon as possible to see if we can make arrangements for a completion at a later date. Otherwise, due date is Sunday, February 24th. I think that we've just cracked the surface for project management for instructional designers, specifically in higher education. So I promote that after this course ends, that we keep in touch, that we think of maybe areas that we could do some research on, write some papers, presentations. Just don't be a stranger. So thank you again very much. I hope you have really enjoyed the course and, like I said, gotten some skills that you can take back to your facility to implement right away. Have a great week. Look forward to hearing from all of you. And again, thank you again for such a great experience. Bye-bye.